All right, the annual March for Life drawing tens of thousands of pro-lifers today, and the vice president showed up in person to encourage the crowd.
Stand strong. Stand with that love and compassion.
As tomorrow's Women's March is losing key supporters and facing a lot of criticism, stick around. We'll compare and contrast. Jamu and Jenna are next. Much like in previous years, today's cold, damp Washington weather did not stop tens of thousands of pro-life demonstrators from participating in their annual event to mark the anniversary of the Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision. And remember, tomorrow's the Women's March, which began 2 years ago as a massive reaction to President Trump's inauguration. But this year's march will be missing some notable Democratic groups and candidates. So let's talk about the two marches with Fox News contributor, former candidate for DNC chair, Jamu Green, and Director of Public Policy for the James Dobson Family Institute, Jenna Ellis. Welcome to you both tonight. Good to have you with us.
Hi, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Okay, so the president spoke from the White House to the group today, the March for Life group. Here is what the vice president said. He was there in person with the second lady.
Life is winning because of the conviction of the leaders that you've helped elect at every level, from state houses to the Congress to the White House. And I got to tell you, for my part, I couldn't be more proud to serve as vice president to the most pro-life president in American history, President Donald Trump.
He did speak in person at the march. That's from tonight, another dinner with a group there. But Jamu, a lot of people on the left not happy that this turns out to be the most pro-life president in history.
Well, you know, certainly as we are heading towards the 46th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, and 7 out of 10 Americans support the protections that were given in that decision, it's a very clear sign that we are in a pro-choice country. And Roe is much bigger than the Supreme Court decision. It's a promise to women, to families, that no one but themselves can have decisions over their bodies and their lives and when they want to start a family. It's certainly one of the most divisive issues out there. And I know, Shannon, when I leave this segment, I'm going to have some of the most hateful things sent to me on Twitter and probably even through the U.S. mail. And we're not going to get anywhere by, like, throwing hate in the way that I think activists on the right have done when it comes to this issue, when basically pro-choice people are saying, we don't want politicians in our doctor's office. We don't want politicians telling us when we can start a family.
Let me get Jenna in here. And what you're looking at there is a time lapse of the crowd. It's not on a loop. There's about a 1-minute time lapse that's presented by Students for Life of the crowd today, so people can see, because a lot of times this this march doesn't get reported on. Jenna, I think you would probably say the last thing you want is for people to come after Jamu or make any kind of threats or disparaging comments. Is the right too angry, too threatening when it comes to this issue?
Well, I think that what everyone's standing up for, and I think we are the most pro-life generation, certainly millennials, my generation and younger, seeing the science. And that was the theme of the march today, was that pro-life really is pro-science. And we can see that as evangelical Christians, we certainly support the president's letter today that says that, that children and every person has immutable, matchless value, dignity, and rights. And why do we celebrate that in this country? Why is that protected in this country? Just because 7 out of 10 Americans may support pro-choice, and I don't even think that those are the accurate statistics, but even if that's true, it's not a matter of democracy and a matter of majority. It's a matter of moral truth, and it's a matter of saying that our declaration says that we hold truth to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. They're endowed by their creator, not their government, with certain unalienable rights, and among these, first and foremost, is the right to life. And so we are obligated in this country, and I'm so proud to be an American in this country, because we recognized our pre-political rights that our government cannot infringe upon. Right. That's what people were marching for today.
Let me talk about this in the context of some other polling, Jamu, that you talked about polling. The Knights of Columbus Mayor's polling asked people to self-identify as pro-choice or pro-life. It is interesting because it's almost a partisan split. Democrats 20% pro-life, 75% say pro-choice. Republicans 70% pro-life and 25% pro-choice. I mean, Jamu, do you worry that this has become completely partisan, this conversation?
I think there are too many things in this country that have become partisan. But as we look at those numbers, it is important, if we're going to be looking at polls, Shannon, to point out that the majority of Americans believe that a woman's decision to start a family is something that she should make between herself, her God, her doctor, and it has nothing to do with Vice President Pence being in that doctor's office. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump, who his commitment to this issue has wavered many times in his life, and I think it's because of politicians like Donald Trump who use it as a wedge issue where we have not been able to move forward in this country in a way that respects a woman's right to make decisions about when she will start a family.
All right, Jenna, final word to wrap us up.
Yeah, well, what about the right of women who are in the uterus? What about the rights of men who are in utero? What about the rights of the unborn children? This isn't just between a woman and her doctor, it's also between a woman and her unborn child. And that's what the right to life says, is that every human, no matter how small, deserves the right to life fundamentally.